Are reptilian shapechangers secretly running our world? Well, let's talk about it. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I'll talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Oh, and by the way, before I get started on today's video, I have to give a shout out to the Twitter channel Tridactyls for hooking me up with an awesome Nazca mummy replica head. Isn't that awesome, guys? I love it. This is going right here in a place of honor. Right there. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Tridactyls. He didn't receive enough contenders for the prize of another Nazca mummy head to award a winner. But if you guys are interested in winning your own Nazca mummy head, go to Tridactyl's Twitter page and give a summary of his theory on the constant companion theory. Basically, that the mummies are ever present in our culture, and they've had a big impact on worldwide culture because of their, how big of a deal they were. I think I'm summarizing that badly, but go check out his much better explanation on his Twitter page. Okay, getting started on the reptilians. Yeah, this is one of the most frequent questions I get in the comments. Is what do I think about the whole reptilian overlord hypothesis or theory? And well, it's complicated. It's complicated. Okay, so let's go through it. So yeah, there's the reptilian overlord theory, the idea that world leaders might actually be shape-changing reptilians that are in service to dark powers, right? Easy to believe when you see portraits like King Charles here. I mean, what was he thinking? I mean, I guess at least he's got a butterfly, right? I mean, it can't be all evil if he's got a butterfly. I don't know. Maybe it's an evil butterfly. Who knows? Now, a lot of our information about this comes from David Icke. David Icke is problematic, but his basic idea is that shape-changing reptilian aliens control Earth by taking on human form and gaining political power to manipulate human societies. Icke has stated on multiple occasions that many world leaders are or are possessed by so-called reptilians. Now, one reason I don't follow David Icke is, well, you'll see. David Icke is a popular British conspiracy theorist and author whose books promote a wide range of conspiracy theories. These conspiracy theories include frequent anti-Semitism, such as claiming that Israel and Zionists planned the 9/11 terrorist attacks, citing the classic anti-Semitic text, The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, and stating that the Jewish Rothschild family is part of a bloodline of reptilian humanoids that secretly control the world. He also alleged that Jews bankrolled Hitler, etc., etc. So, that's why I don't follow David Icke. But he does seem to have done a lot of research. A lot of his information is very compelling, and he doesn't just attack Jewish people. He'll go after the Bushes and anybody else that he believes is part of this overall conspiracy. But yeah, this frequent vein of anti-Semitism does rub me the wrong way, and I don't tend to follow him. But is his information compelling? Well, let's go over some of what he's found. And then we'll go over some other stuff. I really want to get away from David Icke and as it pertains to this story. But in ancient Sumer, there is a literal statue of a reptilian goddess cradling its offspring. Ancient Egypt has Apep, the serpent deity that embodied chaos and opposed light. In Mesoamerican culture, there was Quetzalcoatl, the flying feathered reptile god who created the cosmos. And in Indian religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, speak of the Naga, a human-snake hybrid demigod that are potentially dangerous to humans. So yeah, are these, reptilian beings, aliens, crypto-terrestrials, whatever they are, that had some influence on human society? Is that possible? Could they have been shape-changers? Well, they absolutely could have been shape-changers. We've heard, experiencer accounts who have experienced multiple different types of beings, Greys, Nordics, Reptilians, etc., who say they can all change their shape and they can all look like each other, which, makes really getting to the bottom of all this much harder. But yeah, absolutely, beings, advanced beings, do seem capable of changing their shape. It's not clear to me if that's literally changing their shape or simply projecting an image in the recipient's mind. But either way, yeah, they do seem to be able to change their shape, and they're absolutely do seem to have been reptilians and are reptilians. Many experiencers, alien abductees, contactees, do have experience with reptilian beings. So yeah, I mean, at least some of that checks out. And then you have Bill Tompkins trying to convince Chris Bledsoe that reptilians are a thing. And yeah, he was palling around with Tom DeLonge, and they cornered Chris Bledsoe, I think, at a lunch or something, and we're trying to convince him of this.
Has met Bill Tompkins, the guy who supposedly built the ships for the space program. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I was referring to some of his. I was thinking of some of his illustrations in my head as I was describing it. William Tompkins, correct? Right.
Yep, and he sat there at a little Starbucks. I don't know what you call it, patio, sitting outside.
Yeah.
My dad, Tom DeLonge, the Blink-182 guy,
yep,
and Bill Tompkins. And they sat there and they tried to shop my dad. Shop him as in win him over. And he sat there and he told my dad that Bill Clinton is a 9-foot-tall reptilian. He eats little girls. They slit their throat. They drink the blood and suck the life force out of their body. They zap us with these machines when we die so that they create this little hologram of a light. And when our consciousness goes to it, they reincarnate us back over. And the big secret that the government's been hiding, everybody, is that we're a cattle farm for lizards that live in caves, and the queen and the presidents are lizards. By the way, that's the same shit that everybody's reading online.
Yeah, that's very much in line with the David Icke vein of information. I don't know if Bill Tompkins was reading too much David Icke, or if this is some of the information that is going around the inner circles, which is very possible. I think that disinformation probably goes around the inner circles, of the people in the know, as much as it gets disseminated among the rest of us. Of course, who knows? Maybe they're tapped into something real. Hard to say from this side of the fence, but there is more additional information. Robert Fleischer, when he was a guest of Richard Dolan, was talking about how the Vatican knew hundreds of years ago, back in the 1500s, that there were underground races of beings, of non-humans, and they were interacting with the noble families of the time.
According to this archaeology professor, Heinrich Kusch, he found them in the Noble Archive, and he was in touch with the archivist of a church archive. And this archivist, who was also a university professor, he translated and transcribed many of the medieval church documents where they talk about subterranean civilizations, trade being done between subterraneans and humans, the church knowing about all this. And that was in 1500 something. And then they said, and due to the unfortunate events in 1512, 1519, and that, I don't remember the exact dates now. We
that
are
whole
now deciding
Reformation thing, the unfortunate Protestant Reformation. I mean, if this is Church Archive, that's probably
no. They said due to these events, we now seal the entrances to the subterranean world. And
there you go. They sealed off the entrance to the subterranean world because of this influence that these beings were having over the wealthy families of Europe in the 1500s. That is a crazy story, guys. That's a crazy story. Is it true? It sounds like something that might be true. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But I would love to be able to know for sure one way or the other on that. But if that information is valid, then that's information from, 500 years ago, right? Well, what about information that's even older than that? Well, this is what Thoth had to say, as recounted at least in the Emerald Tablets, if that's legitimate. Okay, what is Thoth who some believe is a god, Matthias de Stefano, who recalls his life in Atlantis, actually claims that he met Thoth back when he was an Atlantean, and Thoth was a human. He belonged to a priest class of Atlantean, that they had learned the esoteric arts to such an extent that they could master every atom of their bodies, like achieving almost superhuman status and abilities. So that's what Matthias de Stefano had to say about Thoth in the one time that he met him, when with the priests were traveling around, and I think Matthias was a peasant. But here is what Thoth had to say, at least as recorded in the Emerald Tablets, again, if that's valid information. Speak I of ancient Atlantis, speak of the days of the kingdom of shadows, speak of the coming of the children of shadows. Out of the great deep were they called, by the wisdom of earthmen, called for the purpose of gaining great power. Far in the past, before Atlantis existed, men there were who delved into darkness, using magic, calling up beings from the great deep below us. Forth they came into this cycle, formless they were of another vibration, existing unseen by the children of earthmen. Only through blood could they have formed being. Only through man could they live in the world. In ages past they were conquered by masters, driven below to the place whence they came. But some there were who remained, hidden in spaces and plains unknown to man. Lived they in Atlantis as shadows, but at times they appeared among men. When the blood was offered, for they came to dwell among men. In the form of man they amongst us, but only to sight were they as are men. Serpent-headed when the glamour was lifted, but appearing to man as men among men. Crept they into the councils, taking forms that were like unto men, slaying by their arts the chiefs of the kingdoms, taking their form and ruling over man. Only by magic could they be discovered. Only by sound could their faces be seen. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. So yeah, there you go. That's what Thoth may have been saying. This Atlantean priest king who brought civilization to Egypt, potentially, may have been saying about the reptilians. They were, formless, or called into being. Only blood can form them, and only sound could send them away. So talking about vibrations, blood rituals, and dark beings. Sounds an awful lot like the David Icke material, doesn't it? So, I have no idea if any of this is real. I sure hope it's not real. This is stupid. Reptilians, come on, guys. Reptilians and blood magic and dark forces. Man, I hope this isn't real. I mean, again, this is just stupid, guys. This is a great sci-fi villain kind of stuff. But one of my favorite short stories by Robert E. Howard, The Shadow Kingdom, had serpent men as the villains. Great villains. I think they make great villains. But I don't want them as real life villains, and especially not if they're in league with wealthy families, or even impersonating the leaders of these families and secretly ruling the world. But could some version of all of this actually exist? Well, I guess it could. I mean, if that Vatican source is correct, or that church source is correct, that the Vatican does have archives going back to the 1500s of interactions with subterranean beings that were having an influence over the wealthy families of Europe, to such an extent that the Vatican had to block off those passages. And, if that's true, why didn't the beings just unblock them, right? So, who knows if that's real or not. But, could it be real? Yeah, sure, I guess it could, but we don't have enough information to say one way or the other but it does seem to tie into some of this other stuff. I think there's probably likely a foundation of truth in some of this, and then it gets blown up out of proportion. So much mythology seems to have been built around the phenomenon and also the greater phenomenon. It's hard to weed out what is the mythological aspects of what we're hearing and what is, what the mythology is based on, the true aspects of it all. I believe there probably are true aspects, but I don't believe in the totality of the story, because to me it seems like a story. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, all that kind of good stuff. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Discord, links below. If the Discord link is active, I have to replace that sucker every week. And every week I fall behind. So let me know if it becomes inactive. But yeah, trying to grow the Discord community. Meanwhile, you can support Cosmic Road by buying some merch in the merch store. There are t-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff like that in the merch store. You can become a channel member, because channel members are rock stars. I really appreciate you guys' support, guys. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. And of course, channel members do frequently get to see videos like this hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.